Following from the previous video on Brexit negotiations, someone asked for more detail on the Irish border arrangements. You might remember during a referendum campaign, one of the claims made by Project Fear was that if we voted leave, a hard border might be put in place. So far, both UK and Irish governments have said that this is not going to happen, and the European Commission agrees, so not a lot to worry about, but here's some further background. Shortly after Ireland gained independence, from 1923, there was a common travel agreement, meaning that there were no passport or immigration controls between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The agreement was broader than just movement across the border, it also allowed travel between Ireland and Britain. It was suspended during the Second World War. Immigration controls between Ireland and Britain were kept in place until 1952. The common travel agreement was only made into hard law in 1999. The point being, there have been arrangements in the past, long before the EU formed, that enabled an open border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The question is, if the UK is seeking to reduce immigration levels overall, would that affect the situation? Well, for starters, it should be noted that the Republic of Ireland is not in the Schengen area, so citizens of other EU countries need to present passports in order to enter. Secondly, Northern Ireland has seen the lowest levels of immigration of any part of the UK, so immigration to Northern Ireland isn't really much of a problem at the moment. But it could be possible that EU citizens could travel freely to the Republic of Ireland, cross into Northern Ireland, and then travel over to Britain. At the moment, you technically don't need a passport to travel between Northern Ireland and Britain, although most planes and boats ask for some kind of photo ID. There are different ways this type of immigration could be controlled. One option would be to have no direct checks, instead to introduce working visas and change the benefit system. This would effectively make it impossible for someone to sustain themselves in Britain if they had sneaked in unless they had a lot of financial resources from elsewhere. Alternatively, a requirement could be introduced to check passports when travelling between Northern Ireland and Britain. This might be seen as a bit of an inconvenience, but probably not that much, given that photo ID usually needs to be provided anyway. Personally, I think it's most likely that the option of work visas and benefit reform will be applied, and that it'll be fine unless we see a lot of EU citizens trying to enter Britain the way I described, in which case we may want to change things up. Either way, there will be no hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland.